Welcome to today's English grammar class. As always, we begin by having a brief review of the areas we had covered in the past. You will recall that in our previous classes, we talked about parts of speech, paying special attention to aspects of nouns and verbs. Today, however, we'll be examining two aspects of parts of speech. As can be seen on our board, we'll be talking about adjuncts. Now, adjuncts is a general name, an umbrella term for words that give additional meaning, that give extra information about other words used in sentences. When we talk about adjuncts, we are referring specifically to adjectival words and then adverbial words, including all adverbs and all adjectives. Clauses that function as adjectives and phrases that function either as adjectives or as adverbs. So in our today's discussion, we'll be taking a brief look, just a cursory look, on the class of words that we refer to as adjectives. Adjectives are therefore one of the adjuncts in English language. What does an adjective do? That is very easy. Even our elementary school students are able to tell one that a word that gives extra information about a noun or a pronoun is called an adjective. But adjectives also give extra information about fellow adjectives. Certain class of adjectives give information about fellow adjectives. Now, this idea of giving extra information is usually referred to as to qualify. So adjectives qualify nouns, qualify pronouns, and fellow adjectives. That is our definition. Now let us take a look at a sentence that has no adjective. This sentence reads, Adeline wore a gown to church. Adeline wore a gown to church. In this construction, there is no obvious adjective, but we understand what Adeline did. She went to church. She also wore a gown. Now let us rewrite the same sentence. It now reads, Adeline wore a long gown to church. There is an additional word in the sentence, and that is the word long. This word is an adjective. We now know that Adeline didn't just wear a gown. In fact, it was a long one. It was a long gown that she wore. So long has added a piece of extra information to gown. We know now the kind of gown. If we were asked before what kind of gown did Adeline wear to church, we would not be able to answer the question because the kind of gown or the sort of gown wasn't stated. Now we can answer that question confidently. We can say Adeline wore a long gown to church. What sort of gown did she wear? A long gown. It says, there were some passengers in the bus. We might as well say, there were passengers in the bus without some. But when we say some passengers, we give extra information about noun passengers. So the word some qualifies the noun passengers. But this is not just an adjective. It doesn't just tell us more about passengers, it tells us about the number. It gives us an idea of quantity. Some passengers means more than one. It says, Gloria reads interesting books. Gloria reads interesting books. So, what kind of books does Gloria read? We say she reads interesting books. So, interesting books, interesting here qualifies it. Now, something about adjuncts is that they are additional. They provide extra information. So, they can be done without, in a sense. They are not so important. A user of English words uses an adjunct when he or she feels it is necessary to do so in order to provide more information about a noun or a pronoun. Otherwise, we can do without them and still make our sentences. For instance, sentence 3 can read, Gloria reads books. We can say Gloria reads books correctly without including the extra word interesting. It is only when it becomes necessary to answer the question, what kind of books does Gloria read? That's why we say interesting books. In this example, to the question, what kind of party did George and Ada have? We will say George and Ada had a glorious party. With glorious, the adjective qualifying the noun party and telling us what kind of party George and Gloria had. Now we have given us a brief, or you could say a cursory survey. We've had a cursory survey of what an adjective is. We can now briefly talk about the different kinds of adjectives that exist. There are so many of them. We will just make reference to them. Now, the adjectives that talk about quality, the quality of a thing, the adjective you use to answer the question, what kind of, what sort of, what manner of, what nature of, we refer to them as quality adjectives. Quality adjectives. Example. Now, words like kind, a kind boy, a kind woman, kind-hearted, a kind-hearted woman, soft-hearted, a soft-hearted man, hard-hearted, hard-hearted, a hard-hearted woman, jovial, a jovial girl, jocular, a jocular mistress, jolly, a jolly good day, bright, a bright sunshine, dull, a dull, sunless day, vivacious, a vivacious little boy, A strange occurrence. A strange occurrence. Words like this, when they are used to describe nouns, are known as quality adjectives. You can also call them qualifiers. Qualifiers, because they talk about qualities. There are also adjectives that are called quantifiers. Quantifiers. Or you call them quantity adjectives. Adjectives of quantity are called quantifiers or quantity adjectives. They include all numbers 1, 2, 3, etc. All numbers that are used along with nouns and pronouns to talk about number, to talk about quantity. They are examples of quantifiers. 2 oranges, 6 men and 3 women, 4 houses are examples of the use of quantity adjectives. Now, such quantities measured in number are called specific quantities. Specific quantities. Good. Now, there are other quantities that are not specific. But before that, the letter A is also a quantity adjective. It means 1. So a good day means 1 good day. A boy means 1 boy. Good. Now, apart from these definite quantities or specific quantities, for instance, some oranges in the refrigerator means more than 1, but we don't know the number. The number is not stated. But we are given an idea of quantity. We know it is more than 1. Few people. A few. Little oil. A little oil. Many cars, many people, many stories, and so on and so forth. Much water, much bread, much sugar, much salt, much rice, much food, much tea, much coffee, and so on and so forth. Several, meaning many, several. A bit of something. Much more water, more food, much more water, much more food. Lots, a lot, lots, a lot. Anything. Many. A great many. A great deal. A great deal of something. A handful. A modicum. A piece of. Now, these words, when they are used with nouns, talk about the quantity of the noun, either an unspecified quantity or When we say unspecified, we mean quantity that is not specific. Or the adjective may be talking about a specific quantity that is specific or unspecific quantity. Specific when you measure in numbers. Unspecific when you use words that give an idea of quantity without mentioning the actual number. Now, apart from these examples of adjectives that we've given, there are still others. We can also talk about possessive. Possessive adjectives, and these are adjectives that we use to talk about ownership, to talk about who owns something. So invariably, these adjectives qualify the noun that somebody owns. The most popular of these is my, which the first person uses every time. My camera, my bucket, my bag, my pair of shoes, my house, my village, and so on and so forth. Our, which is the plural of my. Our grandmother, our town, our car. Your, for the second person, something that a second person owns. Your hair looks bushy, why don't you have a haircut? His, for the third person, masculine gender. His sister is called Sarah. He has gone to the country to visit his great auntie. Her manners makes her likable to so many people. Her manner makes her likable to so many people. She is a nice girl. Her behavior is adorable. Is used with animals and generally things that are not human. The dog is Alsatian. His ears are fluffy. His ears are short. His ears. Their, belonging to a group of people. Belonging to a group of people. Their car, their hometown, their great-grandfather, and so on and so forth. Then, finally, we talk about two other kinds of adjectives. We talk about demonstrative. Demonstrative adjectives. Adjectives that are used to point out something. To point out what we are speaking about. So I will say, for instance, this board, where the adjective is this pointing at the board. This board shines. Singular. That girl walks fast. Singular. What's the difference between these two singular demonstrative adjectives? We use one, the first one, this, when the noun we are talking about is close enough to the speaker, and the speaker can touch it, or generally is at a place within the reach of the speaker. We use this. We use that if the thing we are talking about, the noun, is far enough from the speaker. So far away that the speaker cannot touch it. So we say that. We also say these. When this becomes plural, we say these. So if we say this board, we must now say these boards. These boards. So board becomes plural. And when that is plural, it changes to those. So can I say those girls? That girl, those girls. Now, the other kind of adjective, the last one that I want to mention, is the possessive case. Possessive case of a pronoun, which also functions as an adjective. Now, that pronoun is the possessive pronoun whose. It is used as an adjective. So someone can say whose. Whose is that car? Whose is that car? Tries to find out who owns a car. He tries to find out who owns that car. Whose is that car? But it can also be written, the same sentence can also be written as whose car. So instead of car coming at the end of the sentence, we put it directly after the word whose, which is not an adjective. And it's qualifying car. Whose car is that? Now in the first sentence, whose is a pronoun. So the noun it stands for car is not close enough to it. But when an adjective qualifies the noun is put next to the adjective. So have whose car is that? Whose is that car? And so in our next class, in the future, we will be able to say more in greater detail about these various kinds of adjectives that were pointed out today. Thank you very much for being a wonderful audience, and see you again in our next class.